Good morning and welcome to your morning spotlight show, now streaming on ACNNTV. Coming to you live from the capital city of Abuja. I'm your host this morning, Chukwebuka Ike, and I have with me in the studio Mr. Raphael Oja-Okomo. Mr. Raphael Oja-Okomo is a social and sports commentator. Mr. Raphael, good morning.
Good morning, and it's good to have me again here.
Thank you for being here. All right, joining us virtually today, we'll be having two guests who will be joining us virtually. We have Comrade Abraham Soko, a political and sports analyst. He will be joining us from Delta State. Comrade, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Ebuka. How are you doing now?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
All right, welcome to the show this morning. All right, viewers, please remember you can join these conversations by calling on the numbers showing on your screen or sending your comment via various social media handles also showing on your screen. Now, in 1996, Muhammad Ali leads the Olympic quadrant at the Atlanta Games, symbolizing the triumph of the human spirit. So I would like us to keep the flame burning bright in our hearts and always let sports ignite your spirit. Welcome back. We will now go straight forward to the news on the sports news, and we want to start with that of the front page of the Punch Sports Extra. And the front of the lead story on the Punch Sports Extra says the chosen one, and if you look at that, you'll see a chart, a pie chart, and we have that of Renard 67%, and we have that of Anderson 19%, and we have that of an indigenous coach 14%. That's the story on the NFF and the Super Eagles coaching job, which says from that we see that fans choose Renard over Anderson for Eagles job. All right, so that's on the front page of Punch Sports Extra. Then above that we have AFCON qualifiers, Eagles Open Training Camp, September 1st, 2024. That's on page 7 of the Punch Sports. And page 6 has the story on PSG pullout of Osimhen Rays. And page 2 has the story on Bankole wants Joshua in Africa showdown. All right, so Chelsea is excited about Joe Felix return. That's on page 4, and page 5 says United happy to sell Eriksen for 5 million. Wow. Page 5 has a story on Gracia Merejo agrees to join Arsenal. Above the masthead we have I am Lukman fan. That's coming from Bellingham. That's on page 6. And page 6 also have the story on offensive gesture. Boniface banned and he's fined 25 million euros. All right. Then on page 4 we have the PFA Player Award trees folding. And below the masthead we have Toriola backs MTN champs to produce next Olympics medalist. That's on page 2. And also page 2 has the story on the 18 world champs. Nigerian face Chinese Taipei in placement match. And then 7, the last story on Punch Sports Extra, it's on page 7. It says on the 20 Women's World Cup, Falconet sets for Australia friendly, and that's on Punch Sports Extra. But so Mr. Raphael, the fans, I don't know, were you among those who voted or who did?
I didn't even know there was a poll. I didn't even know there was a poll
for the position of the Super Eagles senior coach.
You know, I keep saying it here that NFF body is the most unserious body. I'm telling you.
We have qualifier games, AFCON qualifiers game at hand, and we don't have a prepared team yet.
They are the most serious people you would ever have holding such positions. You know, I'm not surprised. You know, when people begin to clamor for positions, but they never really understand what the work in that place entails. I remember vividly when the Beach Sand Eagles wanted to go and play a qualifier. 9 days to the qualifier,
There was
or
no
8
coach.
days, they had no coach.
No coach, yeah. True.
Yes, they had no coach, and they went to go and play Mauritius. Somehow, they won here, and they received the lashing there. And
They won there and
they
came here
won
and
there
received the lashing here.
and received the lashing here. Sorry. Now, we cried that we don't have a coach from the last time Finidi George resigned, and till date. That's like how many months now? Till
over
date.
2 months.
And then last week, from nowhere, somebody who didn't even apply for the job was mentioned as from the papers that he's the new Super Eagles coach, and that he has trimmed the list of the Super Eagles invitees for the next coming games in the name of Anderson. Now, we are hearing that there's a poll to choose who the Super Eagles coach will be. You know, like, is that, do we have a coach now? Do we not have a coach now? What are we doing? You know, in all of this, you can see, like we say again in our local parlance, the monkey's hand inside or in the soup. Somebody somewhere is interested in whatever is happening, and until that person gets what he wants, we will still be held to ransom. Because I don't think it is a difficult thing to get a coach for the Super Eagles.
True.
As a matter of fact, the moment that place was declared vacant, a lot of people applied, both locally and internationally. What is it that these people are asking that we cannot give, both locally and internationally? At least you have the likes of Samson Siasia, who is banned,
who has
finished his ban
from his ban.
We have Sunday who said, "I will not let us rest. I can do the job." We have Emmanuel Amunike that we believe has been in the business of coaching. We have a Guavon, even though we don't trust him, is there. Manu Garba is there. We have these local coaches who are ready to jump at it. And then you go to international scene. Seinfeld. We have the Malian coach, I can't remember his name, and Conceição, the one that coached Cameroon. All of them indicating interest, because everybody wants to be able to work with the Super Eagles, because we have an array of stars to work with. But then again, what is making it difficult? At the point we said they were waiting for France to finish the Olympics so that we can get Renard. From nowhere we had Anderson, who the paper recorded never applied. Are we now seeing the case of how they brought Pesero and they say because he's Mourinho's friend, they went to go and carry him? I think greed would be the end of some of these people. Greed will be the end of them, because first and foremost, for a very long period, we don't have a coach. We keep hearing this person has been selected. This person is. Who keeps peddling those information? I know in every rumor there's an atom of truth. So who keeps peddling all these rumors, all these information? Who brings them out of the coffers of the NFF? When are they going to give us a coach? Now the team is supposed to assemble 1st of September. First in 2 weeks time.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks time.
1st of September. Is it not the coach that's supposed to assemble the players he needs? Now you have the NFF listing players for a coach yet to be, and then when the coach comes, he has to work with your list,
or he'll give us a fresh list,
or he gives us a fresh list. So I stand again on that word to say the NFF are very, very unserious, and they don't know what they're doing. And this is just a case of people just wanting to be in position, just to be told that or be said that I was this, I was that, I am this, I am that. But to actually do the job is a big deal for them.
Or do you think there is a hidden coach somewhere who has produced
That's
a
why
list?
That's why I said there's something that we don't know that is playing in the background at the moment. And if they're not careful, they're going to expose themselves. Because if people have applied for these jobs and you have done your screening, are you telling me that they all don't qualify?
And if they don't qualify, who do you intend to give?
Who are you picking? At least, if for example now you want to get married let me use that one. You want to get married.
Why me?
I'm sorry. He just came out. You want to get married. Let me say for myself, I want to get married.
Okay.
And there's a particular lady I'm looking
Are you
at.
going to marry a second wife?
Maybe. There go. Now, before I got married, there's a particular lady I was looking at. This is who I want to get married to. And you know, like we always say, you're looking for your type. Are you your type's type? Now, after approaching her, maybe she doesn't want me. And maybe because of one thing or the other, maybe genotype, maybe where I'm from, because all those things come to play sometimes. And then she goes. Of course, there are other potential jugets around. But I always have that one eye for that one person. But maybe reasons beyond our control, it didn't work.
Yeah.
As a country, there's a coach that you're looking at or wanting to get. Why are you not able to get the coach? Is it because of the money? Just like what Osimhen is facing at the moment. A lot of clubs want him, but they can't foot the bill. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But because they can't get Osimhen, there are other alternatives
that they can fall back to.
Do you understand me?
Exactly.
So who is that one person that you're looking at? And why can't you get that person? And even if you can't get that person, why aren't you looking at those who have applied?
All right. So, comrade, I come to you. Mr. Raphael has said that there are a lot of persons who have applied for the position of the Super Eagles coach, and after many days or many weeks of screening, and we've not heard from the NFF or from the Ministry of Sport whom the new Super Eagles coach is. And so I want to know, do you have an insight of what's going on with NFF and the new Super Eagles coaching job?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. I don't have any insight on what is going on. I must say that I am extremely disappointed. I am extremely sad. I don't even know the right word to use.
You are flabbergasted.
Describe the NFF right now, because I don't know if we don't learn as a country. I don't know if the organization don't know how to learn from history, because I don't know how to place my words on live TV right now, because I don't want to speak out of turn. But let's look at the issues. Now, 2 days ago, I read somewhere that we have appointed Anderson as Super Eagles coach. As a follow up on that, I read that Austin Govon is going to be the technical advisor assisting him. All of a sudden, I came now to see that that is actually not correct. That it was a rumor, it was a lie. That that he walked out of the discussions on the NFL. Now, the question I want to ask now is: this was the same situation we had in the build-up to the appointment of Finidi George. We had a crucial World Cup qualifiers coming up, and we have appointed Finidi George, I think, 3 weeks to this particular match. And when he came, instead of going to work immediately, he had his own thoughts. He was looking for apartments, looking for accommodation, looking for cars, talking about cars.
Yeah.
And that is the same situation we are finding ourselves in right now. Now we have the AFCON in 2025. We have a qualifying match on September 7th. Camp is supposed to resume on the 1st. This is August 22nd. We don't have the Super Eagles coach. So I don't actually know what is wrong with NFF as a body. It is a shame, and it is totally appalling. It is sad that there's very, very little the government, yes, what you call non-government interference in football.
Yeah.
So I was actually waiting for the sports minister to give a statement on this, but he cannot, because yes, they actually have to be non-interference.
There's an embargo on that.
Federation football. So it is really sad. And Mr. Ebuka, I don't know if we are going to go out and protest peacefully on this. I don't know. I don't know what we are going to do about this whole saga.
Oh my God.
NFL. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you. Viewers, please, you can join this conversation. Remember by calling on the numbers now showing on your screen, or sending your comment via various social media handle. We want to know what's your view concerning the Super Eagles coaching job, and what has been happening with NFF and all the rest. All right. The Athletic Federation of Nigeria has come to refuse or to state their position on Favor's Odili's case, and Favor had earlier come out to say that she will have to change her allegiance, switch her allegiance from Nigeria to another federation or another state, and then the AFN has come to say that Favor is just acting uncontrollable, and I want to know if you were the one who have been in, not just once. This is the second time it's happening that you've been denied or you've been declined from participating in what you have spent days and hours and even your own personal fund to prepare for. How would you feel, and what is your take on the what the AFN has come out to say concerning this case?
I wish that person that made that statement, how do I call it, could give us his name, so that we'll know who we're addressing. We'll not be addressing AFN as a body. We'll address that person. There was a clip of Favor of Philly in that Olympic. I think after she ran the finals of the 200 meters and she came sixth, there was a clip of her in the tunnel really crying. Yes, she was really crying deeply.
And she said she's tired of
yes, those were her
saga.
words, where I am tired, and then somebody comes to say she's acting uncontrollably. That's why I said I wish the person could give us his name, or maybe invite the person to talk to the person, because that's the height of insensitivity, when you don't talk, you don't think before you talk. And they say people might not know. You say, I coined it some time ago. I said it's better for you to keep quiet so that people don't know how foolish you are. Because sometimes when you keep quiet, some people will count you as being very smart and wise until you open your mouth and say what you're not supposed to say. So a lot of people shouldn't be given that audience to speak sometimes, because when they spew words out of their mouth, you will not start blaming yourself. Why did I even allow this person talk in the first place? You didn't do once to this person, she came back again, and you did it twice. The athlete that won the hammer gold in the Olympics that represented America, they only did it to her once,
and she left,
and she switched. They did it to Francis Obikwelu once, and he left and went for Portugal. They did it to Gloria Loze once, and she left and went to Spain. Others didn't even wait for them to receive it. They only heard of it and they ran. And then you're coming. In fact, one of them even said she can go if she wants to go. This happens even in the workspace, where the environment is not being conducive or they're not treating you well, and then you're saying you want to leave because it's not working well, maybe because you have preferred solution and the body is not trying to help. And the next thing you hear the person tell you is, if you want to go, you can go. There are 1,000,001 people out there
who are looking for the position.
And those 1,000,001 people, when you leave, they come into the place hoping that when they come, they will find a way to, maybe you didn't do it well, there's a way I would do it, things will change. When they now come in, they now see what you're crying about, but they can't cry. Because as they are also going to leave, somebody else is going to come and enter that place. So, but if they know that when somebody leaves, nobody's coming to replace, everybody will get their acts together. Everybody will do what they're supposed to do. You cannot cheat a girl who has spent her hard-earned money to train herself, qualify for these things. Your only job
is to register
her. They know her. They know she exists. It's like just like Toby Amuson exists. But at least, okay, Nigeria, send us the list of the people that will come for you. As a matter of fact, if Nigeria sends the list and there's no Toby Amuson, the IOC, Olympic Committee, will even ask them, what's wrong? Do you understand me? Your only job was just to write. I don't want to say this, but I just feel there's nobody winch hunting this poor girl, because that can only be the explanation now. for somebody to open his mouth and say she's just speaking out of control. Speaking out of control, you did it once to me, and it took me another 3-4 years to come again and make sure that I was under the qualifying range, qualified as one of the fastest 100 meters runner, and your only job was just to submit my name and say okay. Because if the athletes could do it themselves, they don't need the AFN body. They have done it straight up. And if the international body could just handpick what's it called, athletes from these countries, I don't think Favor of Philly would need them, because she has already qualified. She has gotten that the qualifying. Do you understand? They just say, okay, these are the top 10 fastest persons for the year, or top 30, because I'm sure they are up to 50 thereabouts. Then they run to get the who wins the race. Top 50. She's part of it. They'll just say, okay, who are the top fastest time 50 in the world? They'll pick her. But they've given you, like God gave us the choice now to choose. Now, since we decide to disobey the law in the garden that says don't eat of the forbidden fruit, and then when we ate, we had the choice of choosing what we want to do. Abi, I hope I stand to be corrected. Now they gave you the choice to pick those that will come and represent you, and you say you forgot. They say when it's once, it's an accident. When it's twice, it's coincidence. When it happened the third time, let me say person hand inside. This one already happened second time, and the third one is that comment that person made.
Yeah. So you're trying to say that these things are intentional.
If you ask me, I don't stand to be corrected. It's intentional, because if it's done once, it's done twice. It happened to that lady that did hammer throw. It is not error. And like Comrade Soko say, I don't think, he said we don't learn from our lesson. No, I don't think this is learning from something. It means there is an issue that nobody is ready to address, and that's why she is calling them out. If you did it to me once, why are you doing it to me again? What did I do to you? And then instead of you to come and tell her what you did to her,
and
or apologize to her, you are saying she's acting uncontrollable. It's only in Nigeria somebody will get you angry and tell you why they vex like that
now. All right, Komesoko, the Minister of Sports, Senator John, within the course of the week celebrated 1 year in office, and in line with this issue with the Athletic Federation of Nigeria and the National Olympics Committee, he had earlier said that heads will roll. And now we now hear that somebody from the AFN is saying that hopefully is acting uncontrollable. Are you in support of her switching her allegiance? And tell us more about it.
Okay. I think she's a star already in her own right. She has won medals in the Commonwealth Games and other indigenous games that she has taken part in. So I would want to delve into this issue of the whole controversy. I would say that our omission from the 100-meter race at the Olympic was deliberate. It was deliberate because if an AFN official is coming out to say that she's uncontrollable, that was to say there was already a vendetta against her. There was already a, would I call it a wish hunt towards her. But what I would want to say is that I as a person, I also like to hear both parties. When I also like to look critically into issues. Now, what were the allegations that these AFN officials stated? He stated that when Ophili comes to camp, she refuses to use the coaches provided by the federation, the athletic federation, and she generally, that was one of the allegations that he made. And it is important to understand that Ophili is our star girl right now, but it's also important to see if these allegations have any substance to it, because we understand that over the years the federation have performed poorly. There has not been accountability But there is also the need for us to examine the character of some of all these our athletes. It is very, very important. So I believe that instead of Mr. Raphael was very critical of that person making the statement, but I feel that what we should ask ourselves is that, is there actually truth to this statement? Could there be truth to this statement? Because we understand that even the athletes, they are human beings, and they must have had they must have their own flaws. But I want to state for the record that there should not have been any justification for omitting her from the 100-meter race. If she's uncontrollable, you have to discipline her in a more professional way. If it's not inviting her in the first place, there's the way to go, instead of omitting her and ridiculing our federation and the country. Also, I would also want to point a statement made by one of our athletes, and said that she said that the federation only took care of 2% of what she has spent for the last 4 years. And I took that statement. I had mixed feelings about that statement, because in most countries, what the government do, I believe that what she should have been canvassing for is for the government to make the facilities available, give scholarship to sports development, give conventions. These are things that you should be canvassing for, not actually saying that she was creating the impression that the government should pay her the money that she has spent for the last 4 years. I don't think that's obtainable anywhere. Even in the US, I don't think that athletes are placed on salaries. When they are invited during the period of the time they spend in camp, they have allowances that is provided by the government, by the ministry, by the federation over there. But the difference between there and Nigeria is that over there they have the facilities available. Unlike our facilities where we now rent it to church and campaign for political parties, those facilities are available, they are maintained, they are improved on, and the athletes have access to it. So I believe that the character, why I'm saying this is that the character of our athletes generally also need to improve. They also need to understand that we are doing this for the country. There's need for patriotism, instead of seeing it as probably a money-making scheme. So I rest my case.
All right, thank you, comrade. The comrade made mention of Shadi's case, where she said that we paid for our trainings, and so do you? We know we've been talking about this grassroots development, and kudos to Edo State government and a few other state governments, Delta state governments, who are key to making sure that the grassroots development of sports in their state is top notch. So I want to know, these persons who have gone this far to train themselves, pay for their training services, take care of their bills, their health bills, and training facilities and all these things, and then they come out at the national level and they don't get the support they need. What way do you think we can to curb or to move forward from such cases?
I'll start by reacting to what comrade said when he said money. Are they trying to make it a money-making venture? First and foremost, now where they work, you go chop. Now why they call it workshop? But that's not even the case at the moment. The case is these people have spent 4 years paying their own bills. The barest you can do is provide the avenue for them to even work when they come around, of which him and myself agree that those avenues are not even made available. When the cyclist came and said, we have one of the best facilities for cycling, but they are being rented out to churches and political parties for their nonsense or what have you. Do you understand? When the main purpose for which it was built, like Mr. Godwin said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. When the main purpose for what it was built was not being used for that. Now I pay myself. In the case of, yes, I understand that some athletes, some human beings can get over themselves. For someone like maybe Ophelia and the likes, if you check even Ese Brume, the coach that was with her at the tournament was not a Nigerian. was not a Nigerian, and I'm sure this coach maybe is being paid by her or something. Do you understand? And then we all come back to Nigeria for the what's it called, the AFN games to qualify, or just to qualify for tournaments. And you bring a local coach to me. What does the coach want to tell me? I've been working with a particular coach for the past 3 years, and because I came back, he tried to give me one, and I tell you, no, I already have what I'm working with, and that should be an issue. I don't think that should be an issue. Like he said, it's good for people to hear from both sides, officially call them out, and instead of them responding or saying that which should be said, that man or whoever it is saying whatever he's saying. So I'm not going to give that person so much credit anymore, because it's not a serious person. Coming to what do we need to do to help in making this, I mentioned in the last edition where we used to have secondary school games, right from Principal Cup, inter-house sports, and even in inter-house sports, remember in your school they will have invitational relays where other schools will come and run, and these are where we got a lot of people. The reason why you mentioned Edo and maybe I added Delta, most likely maybe Lagos, is because during our national sport games, they are the ones that come first, second, third. In fact, every year is either Edo or Delta. Edo or Delta is like America and China fighting for the medal. Every now there's a national sports event, because they are doing something that others are not doing. Others will wait for maybe 1 month, 2 months, like Nigeria wait for the Olympic and then send people and expect them to come back with medal.
And inside all these grassroots games you mentioned about earlier, on the principal games, university games, and the national sports that you made mention of, why is it that all those people that perform fairly good or enough at those events are not sponsored to the Olympics and every other thing?
Now, if
instead they are giving maybe 50,000, 100,000.
Now let me tell
everything.
You now, after the tournament. Now, first and foremost, how many games did we enter for in the Olympics? I think about 9 of them. And in the sports festival, they go for over 20 or thereabouts. Almost, you think it's the Olympics you are aiming for. Do you understand? Even the hockey and the likes. But when it comes to all these qualifiers, when you've assembled your team, I don't know if they assembled them from there, because again, we have a problem of doing things right. When you see the right people to pick for these games, you don't pick them, you pick somebody else. Like some of the athletes that went for this tournament, some of them were saying they went there injured. So is it that they didn't know that they were injured before they were taken to that place, and nobody knew they were injured before they were taken to that place? But they're expecting miracles to happen there for you to go and maybe compete with somebody who is fully fit. It's not possible. Now, coming to why don't they pick these people to go and represent Nigeria? First and foremost, you can't carry everybody like that. And then, mind you, these same people would compete with the likes of Ofili, Esebrume, Tobi Amuson, and the likes, because when they want to go for all those tournaments, they come back and do the trials before they go. Of course, if Tobi Amuson is your world record holder for 100-meter hurdles, who is going to beat her here in Nigeria? She still comes to Nigeria and beat them here. Ofili still comes back here and beat them here. Esebrume still comes back here and beat them here. So, but one thing I can assure you is this: as long as they do the right thing, when those sports games are held and you pick those promising talents and begin to work with them over time, with time, people like Ofili and Muson will be phased out. And they will not just be phased out because they are tired of them, but they'll be phased out by those who now do better than them. But after the sports game, everybody goes back to sleep. Like I said last week, I remember in the Principal's Cup, it was all secondary schools who play, and then they get to a point like we did in the Anglican Communion, where we got all the best players that we could to form the team at the moment. Then after they play the final, they pick all the best players in a Principal's Cup. We now play Nigeria and Ghana. I've watched these games live. They even air it, sponsored by Coca-Cola. They come, they play, and some of those boys get into the under-17 teams and so on. And so we can also have all those, but how do you go to states? They have sports commissioners. Ask those sports commissioners what they're doing in their states.
So disappealing. All right, so comrade, women on the 20 Falconets are preparing for the women's under 20 World Cup that will take place from the 31st of August to the 22nd of September, and they are up for their two friendly matches. Let's hear from you what you wish for them and how prepared you think they are for this under 20 Women's World Cup.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Mr. Ebuka. I would want to say that the under 20, under 17 female teams, even the male teams, they're actually the ones that are beacon of our hopes in as far as football is concerned in this country. They actually perform well when they get to this global arena, and I'm always very pleased to watch them, because you see that raw talent, you see that dedication, you see that discipline. So I'm actually expecting them to do very, very well in the upcoming under 20 World Cup. And I don't like to judge with friendlies, because friendlies is just a platform, a testing ground to try out tactics, try out ideas, try out how they synchronize, how they can play as a team. So I don't actually like to use friendlies to judge. So I would want to say that I believe that they are going to do well. I believe that they have the raw talent. But my fear is the fear that we have been retreating in the house, the funding by the NFF, the funding by the federation. If they are going to make the tournament, the preparations to the tournament and the tournament conducive for them, we don't want a situation where they will come out and say that they are lacking vital resources, or probably the captain was omitted from the team, was not registered. We wouldn't want to see that kind of a situation. So generally, the NFF has to really put their hearts together and actually support the Falconet team. Also, I would want to draw us back to what we are talking about this whole funding and our athletics competition games, our athletics federation. I believe that when Mr. Raphael was speaking, he made mention of a tournament that was hosted by Coca-Cola, and it drew my attention to the point that we actually need to start talking about our private sector, sponsorship from the private sector. Team Nigeria, Team America, as a team, is sponsored 100% by the fans, by media sponsorship, by private sponsorship,
MTN,
by
Pepsi,
I believe
Coca-Cola,
that
and the
what is
rest.
our private sector doing for us?
Yeah,
I think that it's high time our ministry, our sports ministry, try to approach some of these private sectors, the banks, the telecommunication sectors, even the sports betting company. They should bring money and sponsor our athletes. We have a lot of challenges. We have a lot of problems with equipment. This is not to excuse the government, but I believe that if a country like USA is being 100% sponsored by the private sector, I believe that Nigeria, the private sector can sponsor at least, even if it's 50%, 30%, 40% of what we need to actually compete. There was a situation when I was actually growing up, when we were in secondary school. We had individuals sponsoring a college game, like in the community where I live. An individual will come out and say, okay, he wants to sponsor a footballing competition amongst all the secondary school in where I live. And I think that we have to draw the attention of these private sectors to their responsibility. There's what we call social contract. Are you getting it? CSR.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you call. I think it's SS. I've forgotten the name, but it's what we call social responsibilities by this private sector. So it is the right of the community where they reside for them to actually do these things. sponsor these things. So we need to actually call them out at this point in time. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you. So we move ahead to Europe, where we'll talk about the transfer gist. Just to let you know that PSG contact Ademola Lookman for big money move after snubbing our star boy Osimhen, and Atlanta had earlier told PSG to pay 40 million euros for Lookman. And then Napoli pounder Osimhen exits as Chelsea insists on having him on loan. PSG has pulled out of Osimhen race, and then we have the case of Chelsea, which I don't know what to call them now. Comrade, you're there. I don't know what to call Chelsea people now because people, it looks like people are buying everybody in the market. They're just gathering players, and then they you have come to do one ruthless thing. This on the news now, it says Chelsea gives another player Sterling's squad number. So what's happening with Chelsea? Comrade, I hear you are 17th on the table after the first week game. Yeah, upon all the players who are gathered, and are still 17th for table. I was expecting you guys to win your first match, although it's against the reigning champions of the EPL, Man City. I was expecting a better outing from the Blues or last weekend. Comrade, let's have your overview of what's happening in the transfer market.
Okay, thank you very, very much. I would want to start by saying that I watched the game against Man City, and it was actually a very, very much improved performance. I was actually really impressed, and we had some stars that we bought that actually
how many stars did you buy? How many stars did you buy?
Hope you have not finished the stars in our galaxy.
I want to start by saying that. So I would say that it is. I think Chelsea is moving in the step in the right direction, and I believe that Sterling being asked from the team, probably the manner in which it was done was a little bit disrespectful of a player that of his caliber, that have given so much to the team and to his career. But I believe that this kind of actions is actually necessary for the team to move forward. The manager has to draw the line. I believe that the underperformance of the Chelsea team is coming from somewhere. So if the manager has come out to identify that, okay, this player is not in my plans, and he had an honest conversation with him and he dropped it, I believe that it is within his rights. So it's now left for Sterling to actually move on to another club and talk to his agent and actually move on. And I believe that it was not the only one that was dropped. I believe Ben Chilwell was also told that he should find another club. On the general transfer market, I don't like talking about the transfer market because we cannot actually confirm most of the rumors that we hear. Yeah. It's all rumors, speculations today, speculations tomorrow. But what I would want to say is on the Osimhen, I think Napoli is shooting themselves because the saga is still on. Is shooting themselves on their foot because they have placed an FT price tag for a player that you don't need. For a player that is not in your plans. If you are saying that Victor Osimhen is not in your plans, you should make him affordable for clubs that are coming to bid for him. Not setting a player his price tag is this clause at 230 million euros, and you are saying that it's not in your plans. We might find this situation where all the clause will pull out and it will end up being ostracized from the team. I pray that that's not the situation, because this morning I've heard that PSG has pulled out from the race to sign him. Yeah. So it's now left with Chelsea. And Chelsea, you should know that Chelsea also recently signed Joao Felix for an FT amount of £50 million. So I don't know if they wouldn't have the resources to actually sign Victor Osimhen at this point in time. So Napoli and Victor Osimhen, in my opinion, they are playing a very, very dangerous game. So I hope that the saga we end positively for everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Raphael. Let's looking at the first match day one of the 2024-2025 EPL season, and now we want to look at the second match day. What's your prediction based on the outing on first day match day one? Predictions for this weekend.
I don't even have the tables to work with first.
All right. So we have Man U against Brighton.
Man U, Brighton.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very dicey one because if you watch what Brighton did to Everton, I don't think these people have a fear of God. So Man U, Brighton. It's going to be a tough one for Man U. They might get the edge over Brighton, maybe out of experience. But I still look at it as a very dicey game.
Yeah, Tottenham, Everton.
Tottenham will still get. Tottenham will get ahead over Everton. Tottenham will get ahead over Everton.
How about Chelsea? What do you think about Chelsea Wolves?
Chelsea Wolves, the return of Neto. Chelsea Wolves.
The switch places.
I think the challenge that Chelsea has at the moment is not that they're not playing good football. What Chelsea has focused on recently doing is beefing up the midfield to the attack. And if you check, they have at least in one position more than 2 or 3 players vying for such positions, which I believe, if you ask me, is too much. Because when some players who see themselves as top stars, not squad players, don't get game time, you begin to have problem. Because now you have a lot of players vying for that, maybe the same position. Do you understand?
But serious competition.
So they're going to have that problem, even though Jackson is not giving them what they want at the moment. And mind you, you don't trust Colwill and the likes as their centre back at the moment. Chaluba too got kicked out from the Chelsea squad. So now you're going to have a back line of people trying to still figure out what they want to do because Reece James is injured. Chelsea Wolves. I don't know. I'm not a hater because if you watch the games, Wolves against Arsenal, it was not an easy ride for Arsenal, even though Arsenal got the edge over Wolves. I don't think Wolves want to do a back-to-back loss. They want to find out what it is that made them lose against Arsenal and then fix that before Chelsea. And you know, Chelsea, like I said, is still trying to find their feet. And they also lost against Manchester City and they don't want to lose back-to-back. So it's going to be a dicey game.
All right. So do you think that after winning Wolves at the Emirates Stadium, that Arsenal will do well against
Aston Villa?
Against Aston Villa?
Aston Villa is one of the teams to watch out for this season. Yes, I love Arsenal and I'm an Arsenal fan, but with them I'm very careful because if you remember, Aston Villa was the team that stopped Arsenal from winning the league last season. If Arsenal had won that game, would have won the league by a point because City won by 2 points because we lost that game against Villa. Villa is a very strong team and they've also beefed up their team. There was a certain Onana in Everton who is now in Aston Villa and scored his first goal in their first game. Match. So it's also a dicey game and they have in their bench, Emery, who always makes sure Arsenal doesn't get anyone over him. And then in goal, Martinez, who has sworn to do Arsenal strong team because he's playing against his former team whenever I give him a chance. Do you get? But I believe that it's going to be a very tight one.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Raphael, for being on the show this morning. And to you, Comrade Abraham, thank you also for your insightful insights on the show this morning and always granting us your time whenever we call. Thank you so much. The viewers, that's a wrap. We have come to the end of today's show. Let's take a moment to reflect on the power of sport to unite and inspire us. Remember the iconic words of Nelson Mandela, and I quote, "Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to unite in a way that little else does." So let's carry that spirit with us throughout the day. Thank you once more, viewers, for joining us on the show today. And until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and remember, you are not alone. Bye-bye.